Hey guys, we're back. And this time we're going to take a look at the new accessories that were available during the Kickstarter campaign for the new expansion to Mothership Beyond the Expanse. This time we have the Vortex Dice and the gold metal ships. And they're small things, so I figured I'd combine them. And we're going to get in and take a look. Tag on this one's upside down. So you can see, this is the Vortex Dice Set. And these are both limited production things, so what there is out there is pretty much all there's going to be available. Anything extra is available for sale on his website right now. So you have this, like a crushed velvet bag, which these generally are a dust magnet, but I like the printing on there. It's almost like gold. It's like a gold metallic. It doesn't really show up too well on the camera, but has the Mothership logo there with the ships. And on the back are larger versions of the ships, and you can see it's gathering dust already. Downside to this material, but it functions well for what it is. Inside we have our dice, and this is something else that's not going to capture well on camera, but the actual dice themselves are really cool. They have like this, they're semi-transparent, but they have like this milky marbleized like nebula inside them, and then there's just a hint of glitter in there as well. It just doesn't come out very well on camera, unfortunately. They look much cooler, especially under sunlight. I don't have sunlight in here, I only have artificial light, but that one you can kind of see it better. But they, I like everything on them is nice crisp edges, sharp corners, but they are not without their flaws. And it's a full set of dice too. They have the percentile dice in here, which I don't think you actually need for Mothership, which is kind of neat to have. Much better than the original set from the original Mothership campaign. I still have those on a shelf over there. I've never actually used them because they had like a really weird font on them and it made them hard to read. Unfortunately, a couple of mine have an issue where you can see here on the one, the paint has actually come over the edge of the die. I'm hoping I can scrape that off or it'll wear off with time, but not scratch up the cool finish of the die. There you can get the glare on it just right. You can see the paint overspray. And it's that way on a couple numbers. I think that was just one of the more noticeable ones. It's nothing major, but it's something to worth pointing out. I have to find. I think there was one die that had the actual center of a number kind of filled in, but not a huge issue. Just like I said, something to be aware of, and hopefully they will wear off with time and look fine. I don't remember what else there was. I know there was at least one other one that caught my eye when I looked through them the first time. It's harder to do this looking through the camera, but overall though, they're really cool looking dice. And I'm glad I put in for those to replace the set from the original game. This was that set from the original game I was talking about, and yeah, the font is interesting, but definitely hard to read at times. Like, is that a 2 or a 5? Depending on how you look at it. I guess that one is a 2, but from across the table, yeah, it can be difficult depending on the number that's up. But I also noticed in the old set you only got a 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4, where with this you get a full complete set. So this can be used for pretty much anything too, so that's kind of cool. Then on to the Gold Ship add-on pack here. And And the tags on these are upside down. These were not packaged like this, by the way. I repackaged this up myself. When you first get them, literally every single ship, every single piece in there is in its own bag. That's where all these came from. So they packaged it up really nice so nothing happens to it in shipping, and that was cool. It was just a pain to unpack for the first time. These gold ships, it's going to be really hard for the camera to focus on because they're reflective, but they are replacements for the ships in the game. Add you a new color to use, and then they're made out of this, I think it's anodized gold. I'm not sure what metal they're made out of, but you can see there's kind of bubbles in it, which were disappointing, but they're on the bottoms thankfully, so you're not going to see them. And then each one comes with a base, so there you have your station. This is for the second edition of the game, so it also comes with the Guardian cannons. If you don't know what Guardian cannons are, you probably have the first edition of the game. They were added when the game was revamped in the second edition. And you get 3 of the Guardian cannons. I will note though that since these are made of metal and not the plastic had a little bit of flex to it. The metal does not, so you have to be careful how you store these, or the gun barrels on these get bent. I already bent one of mine, I had to bend it back. I'm not sure how many times you can do that before the coating will crack, or they might even snap off, so be careful of that. You have your 3 Guardian turrets, your colony station. You have 3 of the fighters. Like I said, these are the exact same models that are in the game, just done in metal. It's really hard to get them on camera though with that reflective finish. The other thing is, if I can get it, these are so small that the holes in them are not very deep. So where the peg sits from the base doesn't sit in very well, and it's probably fine for just sitting on the table and moving around, but for storage they pop off almost constantly. Also, if you're trying to pick up the ships, they tend to pop off, so I may glue them on. We'll have to see how that works out. But you get 3 of the fighters, and then we have our bombers. I really do like the gold though, I have to say, it stands out. The silver that was available for the extra player add-on from the old game was more of like a gray. Because of the metallic on this, it is definitely a gold. And you get 2 of the bombers. Then we have our Mothership. And there was one little piece of flash on like an engine or something, I can't remember now, that I had to trim off with a clipper, but nothing major. The ships themselves look great. And then we have a full set of 6 of the capture markers. Again, because they're reflective, they're hard to see, but they have the icons on there just like the plastic ones. Though you can see there are imperfections in them, like these little lines here. I'm not sure what those are. Nothing major though, and the fact that they're metal is kind of cool. Though these have the same issue as some of the ships, where the bottoms of them have these bubbles in it. And again, it's on the bottom, so you're not going to see it, so it's not that big of a deal. My concern is that over time, especially being on the bottom where you're going to be moving these around and scuffing them a lot, if these bubbles are going to chip and start to flake. We'll have to see how that turns out, but for now they look good and they're just a cool addition to the game. to give you that alternative option for a new player color. I've seen people talk about using them as like a prize too. If you win, the next time you play, you use the gold ones because you're the current champion, things like that. The only thing that kind of disappointed me on the ship pack is the victory point counter that you get is actually wooden and painted gold. And while it's not that bad, it's actually a different color. It's not the same color. So, not sure what happened there. I think it would have been easy to make this in metal too. So, kind of dropped the ball on that one. I was a little disappointed to see that as wood. Not that it makes a huge difference, but in a pack specifically designed for metal components, one wood wouldn't kind of throw me off. But it is what it is. It's only a victory point counter, so it's not that big of a deal. Overall, though, I'm happy with everything here. This dice bag's big enough. I can put in. I actually have a colored set of the dice you need to play the game in all of the different faction colors. And this might be a little too small to put all of them in, but I could probably put a bunch of them in there just for storage reasons. And as I said, having the additional color option gives you a bunch of different things you can do. I do kind of like the champion idea where the reigning victory player gets to play the gold. That's kind of a cool theme. I'm not sure who came up with that. I saw it on BGG somewhere. But a couple different uses you can do for that. Also considered, we've been working on our own little homebrew mode where you're playing against an AI. So the AI could use the metal ships too, just to make them stand out, something like that. I tend to use the black for the AI though. The dice are a definite improvement over the old ones, and I like the fact that you get a complete set of dice so they can be used with other games too. The bag's an added bonus. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I take back what I said, the dice, because I have ones for every color, didn't fit in there, so I keep them in this bag. It's also easier to close with the little zip tie thing it has on here. But this one holds all of my dice since I have them for every color. I ended up using this to store the gold ships. Since they don't fit in the base insert, I'm going to be rethinking that insert, possibly printing 3D printing trays to store each of the factions. Because as cool as this tray was, and being able to lay out all of the various ships, the whole fleet's laid out like that. I also have the black colored fleet and the silver fleet. And then my new gold fleet. And then this side of things is getting a little crowded with all the extra planets. I have the city planets and things in there that I got. The new outpost and the space whale, as well as the enclaves. So it's getting a little crowded in here. It might be time to replace this insert and look into a 3D printed one. But we'll see about that. I'm glad I picked both of these up. They weren't that expensive, and if it's something you're interested in, check the Mothership official website. The store had a couple of each of these still in stock as of the time of filming this. I don't know if they're still around when you're going to watch this, but I'll leave a link in the description, and you're welcome to check it out for yourself if it's something you'd be interested in. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.